Welcome to another edition of the Sim Racing Garage. I'm Barry Rowland, and in this episode we're going to be reviewing the DXRacer desk chair. We chose the Zero model of the chair because it offers a bit more lean back angle than some of the other chairs from DXRacer. Now we're going to be looking at the parts included, the assembly process, and even compare it with a real racing seat. So let's get to it. So here are all the parts that we're going to be using to put this chair together, except for the seat back, which I had to put down here because there's not enough room on my work table, and the base for the wheels. But we'll talk about those when we get there. First, let's talk about the bottom seat assembly. It's the biggest piece, and it's pretty much pre-assembled. This is going to be an easy thing to put together because, well, there's not maybe 6, 7 bolts we're going to have to actually use here. So first, let's talk about the arms here. Now, these have 4-way adjustable arms. Is one of the reasons I bought it, because sometimes it's hard to find a position that's really comfortable for long hours in the seat, and having adjustability to even change the position because you get cramped or whatever is a great plus. Now, you can move these arms this way. They'll move in, they'll move out. If you want to move it that way, they move up and down. Looks like about 6 inches there of travel. They also will move laterally, back and forth, like this way and that way. And, I'll turn around here so you can see this, they have an aft and forward motion for about 4 inches right here. Pretty nice. And if you see here, the seat back bracket, it doesn't have any tension or anything. It's just kind of flopping around there because all of the spring tension and control is in this side over here in this hinge assembly. You lift the controller arm up here, and you can push it back and forth, and then leave it where you're going to leave it. And this seat will actually go way back. That's one of the reasons I got it. I saw people on the internet, on the videos, showing people that you can actually fall asleep on this thing. It goes so far back, but we'll test that later. Now, one thing cool about this is they've gone to the extra effort. Instead of just leaving bare metal on the bottom or whatever, something that doesn't look very attractive, they even made the bottoms look good because they've actually powder coated the steel here. And it's a nice red color, kind of contrasts against everything else. Now, these are the bolts we're going to be using to affix the bottom bracket that holds the shock. And we have some little suspenders here, rubber suspenders, that are keeping tension on the actual cushions themselves. Now, the material itself, well, it hasn't been broken in yet because I haven't been sitting on it, but we'll just have to see how it feels once we get it all put together. Of course, it's black, blue, and white, which the Zero is about the only color I could find it in, so I went ahead and got it. Although I'm not crazy about the color, I guess it'll kind of grow on me. It doesn't offend me anyway. All right, so let's take a look at the seat back. And there's the back of it. Definitely not much to see there. And it says Zero, and we've got some lumbar support, rather side support, not lumbar support. There's actually no lumbar support on this at all, but these pillows over here take care of that. We'll look at that in a second. It has lateral supports similar to a race car seat. The wings, so I won't be using them probably sitting at the desk, but it does look cool. And the accents look pretty cool on it too, with the white running with the same piping, the white piping on the sides of it. Not a lot to see here. I'm not real crazy about the big Zero on there, but that's the way it comes, so it is what it is. And on the side here, you'll see the bolts are actually in the side of the seat already, so we'll take those out when we install the seat back onto the seat bottom, which we'll do in a minute. Also down here we have the aluminum wheel holder base, and you see it has these slots in it right here, and these little blue pieces, I've got a whole pile of them over here, fit into those slots. Now they're supposed to be for footrests to keep from scuffing things up, but actually they're sitting lower into the channel than the rest of the metal here. And I don't know if I'm going to keep this blue thing going here. I might just take them out and leave it black. I'm just not real crazy about that at the moment, but hey, like I said, yeah, I might grow to like it. So let's take a look at the assembly that's going to be bolted to the bottom of the seat, like this. This has a tensioner for rocking the back of the seat back and forth, and you can adjust that by turning this. And also it has a piece in here that I'll show you over here in the close-up camera. Now this piece, get a little closer here, if you can see inside of there, and I think you can, you turn this, or you turn it left or right, or swivel it, and that moves a lever in there that actually contacts the top of the shock. There you go, it's a good picture there. So we use that to adjust the height of the chair. And this is actually the shock. And on their website, they said this is some kind of special shock made in Germany. You get a close-up look at that. And you can see there's a button on the top here, and that's what the lever inside that assembly we just saw is going to be pushing on to relieve the pressure and let the gas flow, because this is under pressure. So that means it's going to raise and lower the piston when we do that. Not much else to see here. It's got a little snap ring on the bottom, keep everything together. Now, I'm going to show you these wheels or casters that come with this. And I don't know if they meant to do this because they're wheels on a race car chair, but I'm going to show you a close-up of what they've done here. You'll see here on the wheel itself, on the inside of it, you see that? Those are teeth. And if you've ever worked on a car, race car or regular domestic car, you know that the anti-lock brake systems, or ABS systems, in the hubs of those cars have a sensor ring just like this. And it's toothed like this, so it has a bunch of teeth in it that are breaking a magnetic field on a sensor to let the computer know what that particular wheel is doing. Now again, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but I don't know how many people actually took a look at this and go, hey, that looks familiar to me. But if you ever worked on cars or any brake systems, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that is pretty cool if they meant to do that. It's little details like this that kind of catch my eye on things, and that's why I always look closely at everything before I assemble it. So maybe they did or maybe they didn't, but hey, I never knew that this chair had an ABS system on it. All right, let's talk about the cushions here. Now, this is a lumbar support. Let's bring the chair back up here so we can demonstrate. Now, this has a bunch of straps hanging on it, which, to be honest with you, I'm totally not crazy about, because they go around the back of the seat and let you adjust up or down where you want your lumbar support to be. I would have preferred some kind of a Velcro thing, maybe, but there is none, and maybe the Velcro would have, broken up the beautiful color scheme here or something. But I think that would have been better than having straps running around the back of my seat. But if you need a lumbar support, you probably don't care about stuff like that. I don't know if I need it yet. I'll have to sit in the chair a bit to find out. We also have a headrest pillow, and it goes up here somewhere, up here, down here, wherever you want it, of course, or you can actually use it as a neck support, I imagine. And it has the same kind of system. Well, not the same kind of system. It does have straps on the back, but this is an elastic strap. And it's got this clip in it, which I imagine is a clip that keeps it in place when you have it actually on the back of the seat. You might even be able to use it to cinch up some of the slack in the elastic to make it a firmer fit so it doesn't slide around. We'll see, though, once we get it all put together. What do we got here? Oh, we got these guys here, and these are the levers. They're going to fit on the base so that we can twist and pull these metal rods here. And we've got one more thing, these little side covers. And these side covers are going to go on like this, I think, or like this, to the side of the seat so you don't see the bolts and the hinges once we have it installed. All right, so what we're going to do is go bring both of the bottom of the seat and this part of the seat. We'll go ahead and bolt that together and take a look at it. And then we're going to do a little something fun. We're going to actually bring a real race seat up here, take a look at it, and see what is similar or different about the different chairs. So we'll do that next. So now let's go ahead and put the back of the seat onto the bottom. Now the back of the seat, and I'll use my close-up camera for this. You see here, you got a hole here, and we saw in the parts, we saw that the bolts were already in here, which the only reason I'm showing you this is because when the bolts are in here and you try to take them out, if you look here, you'll see that there's a washer and a lock washer on this bolt. Well, when you pull these out, and you're unscrewing it and you're trying to take it out, that washer has a tendency to fall down behind the vinyl in this seat, because you can see it's kind of puffy in here. It's got some room to do that. I wish they would have just gone ahead and put these bolts into a plastic bag, and that would have been a lot easier than going fishing around for washers. But I guess they wanted to make everybody see that, hey, there's where the bolt goes. So when you take this out and you put it on the seat, you put the bolt back there. I don't know. But it would have been easier. As you can tell, I had to chase one of these washers for a few minutes, and I was thinking to myself, wow, why didn't they just put these in a bag so I didn't have to do this? Anyway, ran over. We're going to go ahead and slide this in between the brackets. Well, that one kind of fell off. And I'm going to do the spring tension side first. And the reason is because the other one's loose and it flops around, and it's going to be easier to get the bolt started in that side. All I got to do is get them started a few turns. Kind of wiggle the seat back as you're doing it. Easy enough. Just go ahead and do this side. And just like I said, you can take this side and move this bracket easily back and forth to get you the alignment you need to get these things started. Again, just kind of wiggle it around. And I usually use my little DeWalt power driver to get these bolts in because it's just faster. And you can set the clutch on it so it doesn't wring anything out. Just tightens them up quick and you're done. All right, easy enough. Now, we've got two plastic pieces here, and we saw them in the parts segment, if you watched that segment of the video. And you can see there's a difference here. One of them has a side kicking out, one's pretty straight on the side. And I'll show a close-up view over here of that. You see that one's kind of kinked out compared to this one being pretty straight. And the reason is, we need that space right here to fit around the spring assembly that's in this side of the seat. Now, the only thing you want to be concerned with on these is the middle piece right here. You want to make sure that's good and squeezed together. It hasn't been spread apart at all because it needs to go into a hole here. And then the bottom is another guide, but it doesn't really spread that much. And it goes on a hole also in here. So all you do is take it, line it up with these little circles here on top of the bolts, and make sure your pin is aligned properly. And just kind of squeeze it on. Usually just take the palm of my hand and snap it on. One side done. Go ahead and put the other one on. Same way, always check, make sure it's not spread apart so it's easy to put on. Line it up. Done. Easy as that. So now, we're ready to go, almost. What we're going to do next is, I'm going to put the bottom on, obviously, the bottom assembly. What I want to do is show you the lumbar pillow and the headrest pillow and how that attaches to the seat. So we'll get to that next. The lumbar support. Okay, that goes down here somewhere. Could be resting on the very bottom of the seat. Could be going further up. Depends on what you want. But what we're going to do is show you how this actually goes in. And like I said, if you looked in the parts section, I'm not totally crazy about how this is attached. I can see the purpose of it for making it go up and down, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a second here. Anyway, we take these straps, run them through the seat belt loops. So I guess if you're going to run a seat belt on your seat, you're going to have to go on top of these. And then you can raise it or lower it, just like that, depending on what you want to do. Now on the side, and we'll do the close-up camera for this, how we actually attach it through this bottom loop here. We'll look over to the side. So this is just a simple buckle system. If you've ever used a camera or luggage or anything really, it's just a two-piece, not a two-piece, but a one-piece, and it has a groove on the top and bottom. And you just simply run your strap through it. Run it through the other one, back through. And of course, sometimes you gotta wiggle it, so bear with. Get this thing started in here. Here we go. All right. Now, slide her around, do the other one real quick. Again, just go in one side and out the other. Boy, I think Velcro would be a better solution than this thing. All right. So now we've got our straps done, and all we're going to do is pull the straps tight. And we'll flip it around here, go back to the front camera, and make it tight over here also. So we got a little twist here. There we go. And as I'm making it tight over here on the strap, everything else gets tight. But it also kind of lifts up, and you got the strap hanging down under here, and you just have to kind of equal it out. Keep adjusting your strap until you get them equal. It's really not hard to do, but again, now I've got these straps here. Even though my lumbar support might be where I want it or might not, depending on the person, but you've also got all these straps hanging off your chair, and I'm just not a big fan. And I think if I'm going to use this lumbar pillow, what I'll do is find out where it would be to make it fit the small of my back and make it work for me. And then I'm going to cut these things off. And I'm going to get some industrial Velcro and put on the back part of this thing. Go ahead and just take it back off. The back part, I would put just a strip of nylon, the nylon part of the hook and loop, which is the hard part, and put the soft hook and loop part up here somewhere wherever this thing needs to be located. And that way I can just kind of stick it there, and you'll be good to go. And you won't need all this stuff hanging everywhere like spaghetti. So again, I'm not a big fan of this. Right. So let's talk about this little guy. Now, there's a few ways to attach this apparently, and they give you a clip to facilitate that. First off, I'm going to go ahead and take the clip off, and that's what the clip looks like. Is you can actually just slide it over the top. Easy enough. Well, that was hard, huh? And just above the seat belt loops in the back of the seat is where it fits me, as far as my head actually hitting the back of it. Now, you can also take it off and use our clip. Just put one end in. And then what you do is on the back, I'll show you right here. We're actually going to pull this clip through here, and then we're going to grab the other side of the strap on the back. And, well, if you can get the clip to stay, of course. Again, we never said this was going to be easy. And we grab the other strap, pull it back through the other seatbelt loop, and get it hooked there so it won't come out, hopefully. Again, not my favorite way to hook this thing up, but we turn it back around, and now the pillow's kind of down where the seatbelt loops are. And for me, that's in the back of my neck, right back in here. So, I mean, you might even want it. It wasn't that uncomfortable that way if you need some support for your neck. But at least you can move it up and down. Now, if we take the clip back off and take the pillow back out and put it back up here, you can, I mean, it's got enough stretch that you can actually put it there without the clip system, which I prefer anyway, because the clip can pop off on you probably the most inconvenient moments. Right. So, not much else to show you here for the lumbar and the headrest pillows. Again, I would use Velcro, and I might show that if I end up using the lumbar, of course, yet at this moment, so I really don't know if I'm going to use it or not. Right, so next what we'll do is we'll come back, and we're going to put the bottom of the seat on. We'll put the wheels into the wheel carrier, or the wheel star over there, and then we'll just put the shock in and put it all together and see what we got. Just for fun, I thought we'd take a look at this seat, and let's put a proper real racing seat next to it. I actually have a Sparco Evo seat, and I'm actually doing a review on this one too. Right here. So now we have the real race car seat. And you can see there are some differences. Number one being it's very, very deep in here with the sides of where your bottom goes. And it's also deeper here for these lateral supports. And of course, as you can see, it is thinner in here than this one is. But again, this is an office chair. But there are some similarities that can't be denied. We have the wings up here. We do have lateral support, and I would probably be a lot more comfortable in this chair sitting for hours at my desk than I will be in this real race seat sitting at my desk. If I could ever do that, attach a bottom to it. I might try that one day actually, because I could probably integrate some of this stuff onto the bottom of this seat. But then again, maybe I won't. And I'm actually doing, like I said, I'm doing a review on this seat, so we'll see another video on that when I'm done with it. Right, so that's it. We're going to actually take our little plastic pieces and the little dress-up pieces that go on the side here and cover up these bolts in these sides of the seat. So we'll get those installed, and then we'll go ahead and put the bottom of the assembly on that's going to hold the shock and see how that looks. Now we're going to attach the bottom spring assembly, I guess I'm going to call it, because it does have a big spring in here. And it also, of course, captures the shock. And we want to install this with the shock hole oriented towards the back of the seat. Not this way, because once you put it on the bolts, it would be towards the front of the seat. I mean, way towards the front of the seat, and that just wouldn't work. Now, as we saw before, if you watch the parts segment of this video, there's 4 bolts in here that we're going to be using, but they're already attached. Like you saw in the back of the seat, they already had the bolts in there. So we'll just go ahead and pull these out and try not to lose the washers while we do it. And then we'll go ahead and hang this baby on here. Again, this is all pretty easy stuff to do here. Of course, it helps when you have a little drill and a 6mm tip on it. Kind of expedites it, which is good for you guys because you have to watch the video. Now, typically what I'll do is just go ahead and get this up here, and I'll put the top ones in first because I'm putting this in at an angle that will allow the whole assembly to kind of hang there while I play around with the bottom bolts and try to get those started. But it looks like everything's lining up pretty good here. And all you really want to do, obviously, is get the bolts started at this time. And we'll go ahead and snug them down with the power drill. Makes things roll a lot quicker. All right, so that's all there is to it. We'll go ahead and tighten it all up. I do a little cross pattern just because it's by habit. Anytime I tighten anything up, if it's got more than a few bolts, I try to put some kind of cross torque pattern on it. Now that we've got that done, let's go ahead and just finish the complete bottom assembly because it's not that hard to do. We got a couple of handles here that we're going to be putting on, and the handles inside are keyed to these grooves that are on these bars right here. And I'll show you on the close-up or the other side camera, you can see them a little better. See little grooves here, and we got some over here on this one. And you can actually see them moving when we turn it. So these handles here actually have little grooves inside of them. And you want to make sure you align it so that you will be able to get it lined up straight with the grooves or it won't go on. Now I'll make the paddle part go towards the front of the chair. So when I'm reaching on the front of the chair, I can grab that front of the paddle. And of course you could orient them the other way if you so desired, but that's the way I'm going to do mine. And you just kind of wiggle them until they go on. It looks like that's good, and it's actually working. So that lets me know it's on good. And I'll look down here again and get it lined up. And we're good there too. All right, so that was easy enough. Now, let's go ahead and put this off to the side a little bit. Get this out of the way. And I am going to bring up the bottom wheel assembly that I have actually already assembled because there's really not much to see here. It's taking the wheels and just take the actual wheel bracket here and just pushing them down. They snap in pretty easy. And if you saw the parts video, you saw that I already had one of these blue color inserts put in, and they just snap into real easy. Only takes a few seconds. Now, again, I'm not real crazy about this color blue, but I went ahead and put them all in just to see if it grows on me. If it doesn't, again, I can always pull them back out. Now, we want to mount the shock in the wheel carriage. That's what we want to call this, wheel bracket, wheel carriage. And it just kind of sits right down in there into a groove. So there's, again, nothing to see here. And we can't forget to put the little beauty covers or beauty rings on it. And you don't have to use these, but it does give it a little nice look if you're looking on sideways and the chair's at a distance and you're looking at it from a side view. You don't see just the shock hanging there, unless you want to see it. All right, so what's the easiest way to get this assembly into this hole? Well, there's several ways to do it. If you got a buddy or somebody to help you, then you could actually just take this whole assembly here, put it on the ground, and let them guide the seat on as you lift it up, or two people lift it up and set it down. It's not the lightest seat in the world. Let me just put it that way. So what we'll do is, because it's just me here, what I'll try to do is just take it and put it up on the side, the whole seat assembly, and hopefully this is going to work. And I'll just take the wheel assembly, turn it over, and see if I can just get it to slide in there. And you can see it's a little bit of an angle here that's not working quite right, but that's okay. I can just go ahead and push it up enough to get that shock to start in that hole. All right, so now the shock is started in the hole and it's all together. Well, it's sort of all together. I still need to turn this thing straight up and put some weight on that shock so it goes ahead and seats in the spring assembly right here. So that's the next big thing to do. And you kind of hold this, because right now it's just sitting in there and it will fall out. So this should be interesting to see if I can actually grab this seat somehow and make it all come together and still sit on this workbench. So here we go. Not the lightest seat in the world, but there it goes. Success. Now if I can just roll it on the table without it dropping. All right, so now our chair is finished. Simple as that. Really not much to this. I just thought I'd make a video on it because I got this seat for the shop. And what we'll do next is we'll just get to the final thoughts and how it fits into the new sim racing garage facility. Final thoughts on the DXRacer seat. First off, I'd like to say for me, this is a very comfortable chair. Now, the desk chair obviously is a very personal thing. When it comes to the comfort levels, everybody's going to be different. I've sat in some chairs that my friends have sworn were the most comfortable chair they've ever had, but I could never find a position in that chair that really worked for me. Now, because this chair fits me certainly doesn't mean it's going to fit you. Let's look at some of the cons of this chair. First off, this chair is not for a large person. My waist is 32 inches, and I only have an inch on either side when I'm sitting in this chair of extra room. So look elsewhere in the DXRacer line if you're a big person. Now, of course, they do make chairs specifically for the bigger guys out there. Next is price. Well, at $400, it's not a cheap chair, obviously. But as far as desk chairs go, I would consider this like a mid-priced desk chair. You can spend well over $1,000 on some of the desk chairs out there these days. Now some of the pros, well, as I've already said, this is a very comfortable chair for me, and the maximum angle that this chair can lean back is just right for catching some shut-eye when you're in between stints on those long endurance races. There's some good racing themed features on this chair, like the nice lateral support wings hanging out over here, very similar to what a real race seat has. And if you watch the parts segments of this video, you'd have seen that there's some not so noticeable car features, like the toothed ABS tone ring that is on the inside of the wheels on the base of this chair. Very cool stuff. So, if you're looking for a race car themed chair for your desk or your workstation, you should give DXRacer a try. I'm glad I did, because I found a chair that really fits the sim racing garage pretty well. That's about it for now. I'm Barry Rowland, and thanks again for watching the Sim Racing Garage channel.